Hey guys, how's it going? It's Miss Messer here. If you would find this worksheet that says Unit 6, Homework 1, Adding and Subtracting Multiplying Monomials. So if you're Cohort A, this was your Wednesday assignment. If you're Cohort B, this was your Tuesday assignment. And if you would, check your answers for your remote work. I'll show both worksheets up here. And if you guys have questions, you don't understand why you missed something, please shoot me an email. You can join my Google Meets on Wednesday and we can go over it in depth. But I just want to make sure that you guys can check your answers. And I know you guys sent this to me in Google Classroom. And so I looked at most of them, if not all of them. And most of you guys I made little comments on. I don't know if you looked at it or not. Like number 4, some of you guys missed that one. You don't need to put the M next to it because 0 times anything is 0. And minus a negative is a plus plus, so that became negative 15 plus positive 15, which gave you 0. Some other things like number 6, you couldn't add those together and get 17 because they don't have the same variable combination, so they're not like terms. Some of you guys added your exponents, and remember when you're combining like terms, you do not add exponents. All right, so check 1 through 12. So if you notice here, all my variables and exponents stayed the same as the given. The only thing that changed was the coefficient. If you need to, you can pause the video in case I go too fast. So just let the sub know that you need to pause it so you can go back and check your work. The next set on your first remote assignment was 13 through 25, and this was to use the product rule, and that was multiplying monomials. And if you remember from that lesson, you are going to multiply the coefficients and add their exponents. So take a minute or two to check number 13 through 25, and again, if you missed any of these, you could always send me an email and ask me to go over it or give you some more problems similar to those. And hopefully you're not using technology to get these answers because that's not going to help you in the long run. It's better to actually learn the material so you can successfully answer these questions on my daily quizzes and on upcoming tests. I mean, I can give you all the right answers all day long, but it's up to you to know how to get that right answer. All right, like I said, you can pause the video to continue to check these. Please let me know if you guys have any questions, because I didn't hear from anybody on Wednesday, so I'm assuming you guys were good to go. Well, at least from Cohort A. Wednesday hasn't happened yet for Cohort B to see if they had any questions. All right, let me go to the next worksheet. This was the Powers of Monomials practice worksheet. If you have parentheses, remember you're going to multiply the exponents. If it has a coefficient, you have to raise it to that exponent. So like on number 2, you wouldn't say 3 times 4 and get 12. Some of you guys did. Be careful there. That's 3 to the 4th power, which means 3 times 3 times 3 times 3, which is 81. And then down there towards 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, and 15, it took a combination of multiplying with powers. And so you just have to do one step at a time. And then don't try to do the whole problem at one step. And again, some of you guys only had answers, which makes me believe you maybe use technology. If you notice, I have that extra step in there. All right, so if you needed to, you can pause that if I scroll too fast while you're still checking. 16, 17, 18, 19, and 20, which are on the next page, they go very much similar to the ones that were in the video from the lesson last week. And so if you didn't remember how to find the perimeter or the areas, hopefully you pulled that worksheet out and you looked at those examples that we did in class. Perimeter remembers the sum of each side, so here you would not be adding exponents, you're only adding the coefficients. In the area you are multiplying, so there you would add the exponents. Remember, adding and subtracting, leave the exponents alone, multiplying, add exponents. All right, so check those. And the formulas to find the area of these figures, again, was given to you in that video. So hopefully you wrote them down so you could refer back to those equations. And then there is the last 3. And I appreciate those of you guys that submitted your work like you were supposed to. Any normal day, had I been at school, I would have just waited until Monday or Thursday to actually physically check your work, but I needed you guys to upload it so I can see it because I wasn't going to be here to look at them in person. And besides, it's a good tool to know how to upload your stuff. All right. So now what you're going to do before we begin today's lesson, hopefully you can see where you made your mistakes and you go, oh yeah, I was supposed to add my exponents, or oops, I didn't add, or I didn't subtract, or whatever you're supposed to have done. No subtracting, that's what we're going to do today. Anyway, pause the video if you would please, and you are going to go into Google Classroom and you're going to take daily quiz number 3. And I emailed you a note card, which is from last week's lesson. So you can use that note card along with all your other note cards, if you still have them, which you should, to help you on your daily quiz. And once everybody's done with their daily quiz, then you can unpause the video and we will continue on with dividing monomials. See you in a few. All right, so today we're going to talk about, I don't know why I want to say dividing, it's my brain, dividing monomials. All right, so this is Monday's lesson for cohort A and Thursday's lesson for cohort B. All right, so we are going to cover how to divide monomials. Last week we talked about how to multiply them. This week we're going to talk about how to divide. So to divide monomials, step 1 is to divide the coefficients. And that's the big number in the front of the string of letters. Step 2 is to use the quotient rule to simplify the exponents. What is the quotient rule, you ask? Well, I'm glad you asked because I'm going to tell you. It's when you subtract exponents. All right. And so what does that look like? So if I had x to the m over x to the n, that would be x is m minus n, or to the m minus n, excuse me. So you always take your top minus your bottom. Take the top exponent and minus the bottom exponent. And tomorrow we're going to look at what happens if there's negatives. Oof, it gets interesting. I will not lie to you there. All right, so number 1. So everybody got all that? Divide the big numbers, subtract the little numbers. Easy as pie. Number 1, the bases are the same. They're both x's, so I write that down, and I'm going to say top exponent minus bottom exponent. And really, let me show you why this works. This tells me I have 5 x's on top, right? But nobody really wants to write out all 5 all the time. And 3 x's on the bottom. And what we know is x divides out in x. X divides out in x, x divides out in x, so what are you left with? 2 x's on top, which is x squared. But instead of having to write all that out every single time, that's where the rule comes in, top minus bottom. So 5 x's, take away 3 x's is 2 x's. You try number 2. Pause the video and try number 2. All right, welcome back. Let's see how well you did. K, 8 take away 3 is 5. Did you get it right? Fantastic. Number 3. I want to talk about number 3 with you. Number 3, keep your M. 3 take away 3 is 0. We're not going to leave it like this. Anything to the 0 power equals 1. Because really, these two are going to cross out like that, and you guys are going to be like, oh, what do I put? What do I put? Well, that equals 1. Right? So a little note here, anything to the 0 power always equals 1. Okay, just remember that. Anything to the 0 power equals 1. Number 4, I have 2 letters here. What do? You do the same thing. You're going to subtract your A's. You had 6 A's on top and 2 A's on the bottom. So what's 6 A's? Take away 2 A's. A4. A to the 4th. 4 A's. Whatever. You know what I mean. 4 B's on top, 3 B's on the bottom. Subtract. 4 take away 3 is 1. Do you have to put the 1? No. But if you put the 1, is that okay? Yes. It does not matter if you put the 1 or you don't put the 1. I really don't care. Most times I don't put the 1 because I want us to know that it's there secretly. Number 5 is the first one we see with a coefficient, a 6 and a 2. What do you do with those coefficients? Do you remember? That's right, you're going to divide those coefficients. All right, so let's take a look at this. We're going to divide 6 and 2. What is 6 divided by 2? Oops, 3 the last time I checked. And then subtract your x's. 4 take away 3 is 1. Again, you don't have to put that as an exponent. You can leave it off. I want you to try number 6. Pause the video and give number 6 a try. Welcome back. You divided the big numbers, so 14 divided by 7 is 2. I see you over there erasing. Did you put down a 7? Ugh, silly you. 14 divided by 7 is 2. All right, subtract your x's. 2 x's on top, take away 1 x off the bottom is an x. 2 take away 1 is 1. Same thing with the y's. 2 y's on top, 1 y on the bottom. 2 take away 1 is 1. So you got 2x times y. Did you get it right? And again, if you put those exponents, you're fine. You won't probably ever see me put them on there because I know that they're understood, so I don't need the 1 there. All right, pause the video and try 7, 8, 9, and 10, and then we'll come back and see how well you did. Welcome back. Number 7. Hopefully you divided correctly and you got a -9. And you subtracted correctly. Well, we know that that's going to cross out. And we said earlier that anything to the 0 power, because 2 a's take away 2 a's is 0. So anything to the 0 power equals 1. But I'm not going to put the 1 like that because now it looks like a -91, and that would be wrong. So this means -9 times 1. What's -9 times 1? That's right, still -9. All right, so that's gone. And now I'm left with b squared. So -9b squared. So if you put an a in there, you're incorrect. The a's cancel. They're gone. Don't put an a in there. If you put an a, that means you have an a to the first power. A to the first power is not the same thing as a to the 0 power, which is not the same thing as 1. All right. We clear as muddy water? Perfect. Number 8, hopefully you divided correctly. 2 negatives equal a positive, so that's +5. Subtract your x's, gave you 1. Subtract your y's, gave you a squared. Z's, I only had 1 on top, didn't have anything to subtract by, so I just keep my z. Did you get it right? Did I go too fast? Number 9. Divide the big numbers and you get 1/2. Hopefully you didn't put 2. I see you erasing over there. Fix it. 4 divided by 8 is 1/2, not 2. Jeez. 8 divided by 4 is 2. All right, 5 n's on top, 1 n on the bottom. That gives me n to the 4th. So 1/2 times n to the 4th. Did you get it right? Good job. Give yourself a pat on the back. 36 and 54. You can use a calculator, type it into Desmos, hit that little calculator doobab. I don't have a calculator handy, so I know that 9 goes into both. So I'm going to divide by 9, which gives me 4 over 6. That can divide again by 2. So that gives me 2 over 3. All right, now I'm ready to subtract my x's. How many x's do I have now? 6. How many y's do I have now? 3. And that is my answer. How'd you guys do? Good job. Hopefully you didn't unpause too soon before you got finished. Make sure you're letting them work them out before we unpause. All right, putting it together, simplify the monomials completely. Ooh, completely. And so you have to be really careful here. You want to do one step at a time. Don't try to do too much at one time because then you'll choke on the problem and then you'll get it wrong. All right, so number 11, I'm going to always think about my orders of operation. I want to multiply before I add and before I subtract and all that good stuff. So here we want to get rid of those parentheses, just like if you had a different problem that was, I don't know, from chapter 1 or unit 1. You have parentheses, so we distribute, and then you combine like terms. Same thing that we're going to do here. We have to get rid of these parentheses. So do you remember from last week how we get rid of those parentheses? Yeah, you're going to distribute that outer exponent, but that is not 3 times 2. That is 3 squared, which is 9. Multiply your 5 and your 2, and you get 10. Is everybody good there? Let that sink in. 3 squared is 9. 5 times 2 is 10. All right. The bottom, you just copy over. Are you guys paying attention to me? You better zone back in. All right. Divide the big numbers. 9 divided by 27 is? No, it's not 3. Yeah, it's 1/3. Very good. I'm trying to feel like I'm interacting with you. It's just me. So sad. All right, subtract your x's and you get to the 7th. So 1/3 times x to the 7th. Just try to make sure you guys are awake. Not too shabby? You try number 12. If you would, please pause the video. Give them a minute or two to try number 12. All right, number 12. Same thing like number 11. Got to get rid of these parentheses. So I'm going to say 2 to the 3rd power. What is 2 to the 3rd power? 2 times 2 times 2, right? And that is 8. Very good. And then a to the, multiply those exponents. B to the, multiplied those exponents. Kept the bottom over. All right, what's 8 divided by 4? Yes, this time it's a 2. Subtract those A's. Subtract those B's. Did you get it right? Good job. I'm proud of you. One step at a time. You can do this. I promise. Alrighty. Y'all want to hear a sad thing? Story time. I made this video already, and it didn't record one thing I said because it was recording from my iPad mic instead of my computer mic. So this is the second time I'm going through these problems in a video. Tired of talking. All right, it's my story and I'm sticking to it. Number 13. Try it. Pause the video. Let me see what you can do. All right, are you back? You got it? Somebody in here's got the right answer. I know they do. Got some smart kids in here. Got some tired kids. Y'all better wake up. Top stays the same. The bottom, 4 squared. Hopefully you didn't put an 8. Did you put an 8? Don't put an 8. 4 squared is 16. Fix it. X squared, y squared. Remember, when you're raising a monomial to a power, you distribute that exponent. Distribute means to multiply. If it doesn't have an exponent, it's understood to be a 1. 1 times 2 is 2. All right. Divide. What does 12 and 16 divide into? What did you do? I can divide by 4, I think. So that gives me 3 on top, 4 on the bottom. Is that right? All right. Subtract the x's. I know you got this part right. That's a 7 and that's a 2. Did you get it whole thing correct? Fix it if you missed it. All right, pause the video. Do number 14. All right, this one you have parentheses on the top and the bottom. So you're going to have to distribute on top and then distribute on the bottom. So hopefully you knew that 2 to the 4th power is not 8. That means 2 times 2 times 2 times 2. What is 2 times 2 times 2 times 2? That's right, 16. And then you get x to the 4th and y to the 16th. Why? Because 4 times 4 is 16. All right, on the bottom, 2 squared is 4. X becomes to the 4th and y is the 6th. Multiply those exponents. You good so far? All right, let's divide. What's 16 divided by 4? 4. Some of you guys are like, yes, that's what I got so far. What happens to the x's? They cancel. And some of you guys are like, yes, I'm almost there. And then I subtract and I got a 10. Who got it right? Good job. All right, let's take a look at number 15. I'm going to help you with this one, and then you can try number 16. This looks a little bit different than what we've seen already. This whole thing is inside parentheses. See it? The whole thing is inside parentheses. So what have I got to do? I'm going to distribute to the top and to the bottom. So this is going to be 12 squared. Who knows what 12 squared is? 12 times 12. Who can tell me what 12 times 12 is? 144. Somebody knew it. You guys are just being quiet. That's good. All right, multiply your exponents. So that is 5 times 2 is 10. On the bottom, 15 squared. What is 15 times 15? 125. And then x squared. Because really this means 12x to the 5th squared over 15x squared. That means the same thing. Got it? And then, of course, that's what we end up with. All right, does 144 and 125 reduce? Put it in Desmos. Hit that little fraction, blue fraction thingy, because it'll change it from a decimal to a reduced fraction. It doesn't? Okay. Some of you guys are like, I don't know, I'm just sitting here staring off in space. All right, subtract those x's. 10 x's take away 2 is 8. Is everybody good? Fantastic. Pause the video. Try number 16. Unpause the video. Hello, welcome back. I'm making the sub work today, aren't I, by all these pausing? Sorry. Keeps you on your toes. It's good for you. All right, so again, just like number 15, I'm going to take this 2 to the top and to the bottom. If you want to, you can rewrite it, but I don't see the point in rewriting it. You just remember to distribute it to the top and the bottom. So this is going to be 4 squared, which is 4 times 4 is 16. A becomes squared, B becomes to the 4th, because you multiply those exponents. On the bottom, squared again. 5 squared is 25. A gets a squared, B gets a squared. All right, and did you reduce 16 and 25? Does 16 and 25 reduce? No, it didn't, did it? Subtract those A's. What happens to those A's? There's 2 on the top and 2 on the bottom, so they cross out. I know it equals a 0 exponent. We know anything the 0 power is a 1. We just cross it out. B, 4 minus 2 is 2. Did you get it right? Fantastic. I'm so proud of you guys for trying hard. Oh my goodness. Number 17. You can do it. Pause the video. Welcome back. How do we do? You multiply hopefully the top first, because you always multiply, I guess, before you divide in this case. I don't know. I would just combine my top and then divide. I wouldn't try to subtract, because 6 doesn't go into 9, or 4, and that would just become a crazy number. All right. 9 times 4 is 36. So I'm combining the stuff on top first. 5 and 1 is 6. 6 and 1 is 7. Okay, because you remember that those are 1s, and you add them together when you multiply. On the bottom, I see you guys erasing and fixing. That's okay. Divide. 36 divided by 6 is 6. Subtract those x's. Subtract those y's. Anybody get it right? Fantastic. I know at least one person can do these. Just kidding. More than one. I'm looking for 100%. Number 18. Number 18. You can do it. I'm going to give you a hint. Distribute first, then multiply, then divide. Pause the video. All right, so hopefully you distributed first, and this gives you 100 a squared b squared. Yes? I'm going to cross that out. Now I'm going to multiply. Multiply, and you get 200. When you multiply, remember you're going to add those exponents. Add those exponents. Over 4a to the 5th b. Now, remember I said to distribute, then multiply, and now we're going to divide. 200 divided by 4 is 50. Subtract those a's, that gives me a 1. Subtract those b's, that gives me a 4. Anybody get it right? Good job. All right, last 2, we can do it. And after these 2, you have a quizzes, as long as there's time provided, and I'm sure there's lots of time left in class. Okay. Number 19, you're going to multiply, and then you're going to divide, and then you have to subtract. This will be interesting. See what you can do. Pause the video. All right, so hopefully you took my little hint there. You're going to multiply first, and then you would divide, and then you're going to subtract. And remember, in order to subtract or add, they have to have the same variable terms. All right, let's multiply first. If you did this correctly, you got -24. C, add them. D, didn't have anybody to add with that D. Then you're going to divide. Keep that -9c cubed d squared. All right, so I'm done multiplying. Now I'm ready to divide. And so when I divide, that gives me -4. Subtract when you divide those exponents. Some of you guys are getting excited. You're like, that's what I have on my paper. All right, then if you notice, both terms have the same variable and exponents. Those are called like terms. And we can put our like terms together. Do we add exponents when we're putting like terms together? The answer there is no. So what is -4 and a -9 combined to give me? -13. Do not add your exponents when you're adding like terms. The only time you add exponents is if you're multiplying. All right. Try number 20. Pause the video and see what you can come up with on number 20. You're going to have to distribute twice and then divide and then subtract. All right, welcome back. I'm going to distribute the top and then distribute the bottom and see what I end up with. Subtract them and then combine some like terms here. So I've got -6 squared is +36. Multiplied my x's, multiplied my y's. We good? On the bottom, I'm going to distribute, and that gives me +9. Multiplied my x's, multiplied my y. And then I keep my -7x squared y squared. Can't do anything with that yet. Then I'm ready to divide. To divide means to divide the big numbers. So that gives me a 4 and subtract the exponents. What do you notice? The x's and the y's match. So again, these are called like terms. And so I get -3x squared y squared because I remember not to put my variables together. Add the exponents we do not do when we're combining like terms. All right, perfect. Again, if you guys have any questions on anything we just did today in class, please shoot me an email or a message and remind, and I will help you because I have nothing else to do right now except for helping you guys. And if you don't want to do that, you can join me in Google Meets on Wednesday and we can work some problems out together. Okay, so that is the end of the video. Now you have a quiz code that the sub will hand you, or to tell you what it is. You'll log into joinmyquiz.com and you'll type in the code and you'll take that quiz. It is simple on dividing monomials. Remember to divide the big numbers and subtract the exponents. And I will see you guys soon. Bye now.